Move. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream where we're back in our Death Knight project, a game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, C++, blueprints, the gameplay ability system, plugin, and all that good stuff. So today we're going to continue with our active abilities cards. And I want to work more on the UI stuff because we are able to grant these cards and have it do stuff, but I want to make sure it can get properly slotted into our active ability bar. And then we have some visual representation of what the abilities can do, if they have durations, if they have stacks, if they have any kind of cooldowns and stuff like that. So we'll start with the active ability bar, then we'll probably do the evasive ability, and then move on to the passives. So we have our first ability. We have the ability bar, sort of, like you see it being slotted and shown there, but I feel like there needs to be like an actual, like a better visualization, like a bar that's kind of visible all the time. You see like the icon getting slotted in and all that stuff. So that's what we're gonna try to work on. So let's get the main HUD here. Main. And like per usual, I'm questioning if I even like the size of this bar. For the nameplate, the health bar too. So we're gonna look at that. Because like maybe in general, this needs to be smaller in some way. Like maybe it has to be just 30. Maybe even, I said 30. Yeah. And maybe that'll look better. Who knows? Like, I'm just trying to see how much real estate realistically I need. And maybe the health bar itself. Maybe the text can be a little bit smaller. Maybe it can be on the right. Maybe with some padding. Maybe it'll be readable. Not sure. Maybe that's too small. Maybe like 32, 35. Big enough. And then text can be 18. Maybe there can be an outline. Maybe black. Maybe that'll look good. Like, to me, that looks decent enough, I think. I don't like how much time I'm wasting on things like the health bar. It could probably be even lower as well. But yeah, I'm not sure if it should be oriented on the right side or be dead center. The text, I mean, maybe it makes sense. It could be center. Also not fully centered because of the padding here. That looks okay. You know, something on the bottom represents health, right? Shouldn't be that difficult, but it is. Now let's work on this ability bar, right? So I have some content here. So there's cartoon RPG kit. There's some art assets that I got. I wonder, there's some skill icons and UI elements I think I can kind of take from, you know? So let's see if we can make something that looks decent, you know? And, you know, potentially we could have like an HP bar outline thing. There's also this texture, like maybe that could be the health bar as well. My hero HP frame, like maybe this is what I should have to work. But we'll revisit the HP for sure. For now, it's okay. Let's just go for, what do we need? Yeah, so yeah, this is technically the hero HP bar that we could have had originally. This could be like, you know, how we're stacking certain things. Maybe we can revisit that. Who knows? I'm overthinking per usual, but there's this frame that probably would want to have. You know, curious what this would look like, honestly. Well, so let's do the HP first because I'm distracted. Why not? We'll start with the canvas. We'll start with an image. Might be in the better if it's in the nameplate, so let's do this. Add image. Grab. I don't know if it has to be silver or gold. Let's just go for silver. This is what it looks like typically. What does it look like in practice? Yeah, this thing's huge. Right. Yeah. Well, let's not do that. That's definitely too stretched out. There. Something like that. Readable. And should be bigger. Because the true image size is 2048 by 353. So let's size to content and then let's just start dividing, right? So let's do 1024 by what? This divided by 2. Right, what does this look like in practice? Pretty big. So let's do it another one. So 124 divided by 2. 2. This looks more reasonable in practice, but yeah, still kind of small. Now I wonder if I can get away with like 600. Like 60. Let it look decent. That's more or less the speed I'm going for. But that seems small, right? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, so. So let's go 800 by 70. Definitely too long, at least for that scale. So let's do 700 by 80. Yeah, realistically, that seems okay. Let me just reposition that. Maybe that can work. Now, if I were to... because there's this health bar. Should be able to do, like, the actual health, right? Let's see. HP, right? So hero HP, and then there's this green one. There's also this, like, blue one. So let's do red, right? So background fill image, and then fill image. If I were to make this an image, do that. Same thing, this one. Oh yeah, realistically, that looks okay. But yeah, now we gotta scale it appropriately. So, what is it that I did with the nameplate? So the nameplate image was, where's the selected? So it's real, by default, it's 2048. So take out the calculator. 2048 divided by 700. So 2.92. So realistically, I guess, like, in theory, I can just stretch this out, right? Match the shape. Yeah. It seems readable. Probably could be moved down and to the left a little bit. That. Yeah, I think that looks fine. So now let's talk about ability bar. And actually, let me just also deal damage to myself. Yeah, that seems fine. And yeah, the non-filled version seems fine. So I guess as well, I could, in theory, make this text be a bit bigger, 24. Yeah, nah, 20 maybe. I'm thinking, overthinking. That's fine. No, it's not. Let's set the padding to a little bit down, maybe 5. That looks fine. Now it's a question if it should be on the left or the right or center enough. Who knows? But anyway, let's do the ability bar. I don't know if it's going to be labeled as skill bar. So there's the skill frame and there's this background. Skill frame, big, background. Skill bar, like this. Skill bar, like this. Now there is some potential here. But again, this might be just too big. Let's go to abilities, I think that's what it's called. So yeah, this WPP ability slot, but then there's the container, right? And I feel like this is where it needs to be, where I don't know if at default we should show like all the possible slots or not, but let's just put an image in. Let's see what it looks like in practice. So there's that. Doesn't really scale with it. I guess it's because of the abilities container. This seems to be where this is just a longer bar, so I think skill bar 1 makes sense. Abilities container. There's desired on screen. There's that, and that's definitely too big. So the width of this thing is what? $700. Realistically, this could be $750. More. $775. Perfect. But $770. Yeah, that works. And then I guess this has to be like, what's the ratio I'm working with? So this was 2,500, right? So calculator, 2,500 divided by 770 is that. So 3.24. So 512 divided by 3.24, 158. So let's make it 160. Seems like a good ratio. What does that look like on the nameplate? Seems too big. Yeah, because there is this bottom part that I didn't realize. So yeah, we're gonna have to do that again. Yeah, it's gonna be smaller. Let's grab this. Let's just align this to the best of our ability. That seems fine. Yeah, this could have to be smaller, so let's try that again. 700 maybe. Oh, 695. Oops. 698. That's fine. And then let's do this math again. So 2500 divided by 6988. 3.58. So let me write that down. Whoops, wrong thing. 3.58, right? 6. The original value was 512. So we just have to do 512 divided by 142. We'll do 143. Realistically, that would be the scale that I'm dealing with. And that seems pretty big, honestly. If I wanted to keep that scaling. Like, that's a huge chunk. I wonder, can I get away with it being smaller without it looking terrible? Probably not. Yeah, I don't know if I really can really afford to have like such a big bar like that frame. Alternatively, maybe this is the kind I need. Look, we could try. $698. Now that maybe it could work a bit better. It needs to be down a little bit more. I mean, also looking at let's look at some of the references I have again. It's like, I don't think a lot of the time they have such like a big ass frame around things. Like, you know, here, for example, it is just literally just, you know, normal frames and stuff like that. Maybe I don't really need explicit frames around anything. Like, there's no like fancy schmancy bar. It's literally just kind of squares. So I could be overthinking it. So, you know, when in doubt, let's assume I am overthinking it. Let's see. Let's open this back up. Okay. Okay, so what do I do? So here's the ability slot, right? So, you know, there is some assumptions that I'm making. like, there's going to be 5 total. So I could, in theory, you know, the ability icon. There is also the frame. So maybe I could do, the skill frame itself, right? So let's type in skill frame. Now let's look. Maybe like this kind of stuff seems a little bit too much. Let's just assume to use it for now. Because yeah, there is mini frame. Let's do skill frame. Let me undo that. What's the 64 by 64? And then ability icon. We can, for now, just put the background. And of course, like, I guess we would need to do like ability slot primary. In theory, we would do that. Why did that fail to save? Illegal reference, slate accessible widget data, and it's unknown. Play doesn't show. Oh yeah, because it clears it by default, right? Because yeah, the assumption here is I shouldn't add anything by default, right? Or clear it out by default. So what am I doing? Is it in this graph? No. So add abilities container is what's doing it. Okay, so if I just do that, again, whatever. I don't like that that's breaking, but we have the ability, right? Obviously, size is not really working. Let's just sorry, kitty. I'm petting the cat. So let's assume again, unless illegal reference to private object. I don't know what's the private object really. This background is too big. Size. User created. WPP. I don't get why that just won't save. That's what it would look like if it had 5 of them. And let's just see. In theory, what like that doesn't take up too much of the space. So there should probably be spacing between them. Well, let's look at that in practice. So, yeah, that's what it looks like. Like looking again at our references. There's definitely spacing in between. This has its own like ability, like framing. These have their frames and their spacings. These are just cards. Here, there's some framings as well, and a little bit of space in between. Could give some spacing in D10. Definitely not like, I don't know, I really don't know how to feel about it. Because there is still so much real estate here. Like maybe this could be where like this thing could go as well. Like how much card resource you have. Potentially this frame can be a little bigger. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would be 5 primary slots. Then the evasive slot. So technically there would be 6, but I feel like that would just have to be on like an individual layer. And then there would be things like we need to track how many active ability slots you have. Let me also save. Like curious why this is not saving correctly. I should have like a lock icon I can use, and maybe I can grade things out or something to kind of indicate how many you have. And then I also have to update the card data to have this information to draw. Maybe these icons, not icons, these skill icon, like skill frames and everything, ability slots can be a little bit bigger. Because again, looking at some of these references, they're not terribly big. They're big. Could be the same size, honestly. And looking at our reference, you know, this is kind of what we're going for anyway. So I guess it could make sense that we have that stuff here. Like the true reference is something around this here. Like this one or this one. Let's open some stuff back up. So really not, like that runtime is not doing anything, so. Let's put the add abilities back here, but let's then, we're gonna do a forced for loop. Between 0 and 4 for now. Each iteration will give empty ability handle. So what I would want to do in here, I think, because there's ability icon and then the frame. This is the circle icon for, well, that's not the duration. Maybe I need to give a better frame for this. If I type in like progress. Bar. Main big bar frame. Dark painted bar. Maybe this could work. That makes sense. Bar, frame, setting of line. Maybe it could be like that. Maybe. I don't know if I want it. There's also setting line filled. Settings point. Could have been interesting to have this. Like the actual line. I don't know if I got any other. There's the fantasy GUI. Textures and there's borders. There's this icon slot, maybe I could use some of that. The buttons, cursors, this glass ball. Could be interesting to use. Yeah, progress bar. So this glass bar. Progress bar fill mask. Quality, materials, sources, fonts, Demo. Not sure if it's going to be anything interesting, but there's this map GUID progress bar. Maybe I can use something like this. Could be interesting, actually. Look, might be too small for what it is, but pretty interesting. The round duration bar. Just kind of math, right? I kind of like this looking thing. Maybe I can use this as well for like the hell. So like health bar. I'd say that the fill image is this one. I don't know what this is gonna look like in practice, but look. It's a little bit fucked up. Sort of. Obviously, it's wrong, but like I wonder if there could be a version of this where I can pass in like an actual other texture. Color background. Looks interesting, but yeah, then it's just not masked properly. Because I think if I were to put the same thing background, it wouldn't really match anymore. It also doesn't really fill to the edge correctly, which is interesting because like in the skill frame one, this looks fine. Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, how do I make it go all the way to the end? I'll fill add, fill level. Front color, fluid color. And there's this fill mask. That could be container. So now it fills. Good. Can I make a copy of this? So what's the... So background art, eye elements, there should be the HP again. Just curious if this will affect this in any negative way. So global textures, if I do that. Update this. What? Okay. Does that feel? Yeah. Looks decent. So the tint, I think I can make this like 0. Yeah, that looks decent enough. You got some kind of movement there. Let's look more about the ability slots here. Yeah, we got some progress bars. So glass balls. Okay, potentially I would want to have that for like the card. What's the word? Card energy resource. But for now, it's all Gucci. So there's the texture, so there's icons, that stuff. I'm hoping there would be like a block, or maybe a question mark. Let me type in lock and see what's a lock. Yeah, so we do have lock. So this could be for, you know, when the thing is locked, obviously. So let's keep that. Let's go into the ability slot primary. And what is, so this is a pull down timer text. But additionally in this overlay, I want to that I think 64 by 64 is reasonable. Let's just see what it looks like. A little big. So let's try 48 by 48, more reasonable. Oh, God. Keep pressing the caps lock. Good center, should be better. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, frame be maybe 80 by 80. Yeah, maybe that's a little more reasonable. What I would want to say I don't want to have locks on all of them. Yeah, how would this work? Would definitely want this icon to be grayed out a bit. But yeah, let's think about this, right? So we have the container, we're iterating over them. I think this is where we would need to start introducing some attributes. But let's just assume we have one unlocked, right? Let's go to this one. Just put a temporary thing here. Let's say be unlocked. This way we have something to pass in. So that we can say oh yeah, we have delta time to update some of this other stuff, right? Like some of this is not necessary. We'll see. Do we have a need for delta time? What's going on? Why is this needed? Find. Okay. How many needs to tick? And it looks the same. So good for us. And again, I don't know, daily size might be too big again. Let's the frame, so let's do 70 as the sweet spot. Here. This project has animation, which is check this. That's okay. So we know why it's set to tick. So let's look. This seems more. Yeah, that seems. Okay. So we have the bar. No, it's at least looking at something. So yeah, we gotta now kind of refactor how the primary containers is really working. We can just nuke this, I think, for now. Let's go into the primary thing. Make sure we have that Boolean flag for now. Set to expose on spawn. That, and then we'll say so if it's not valid, oh, I guess we'll just do it quickly here. So image 104, this could be slot block icon, I guess. Set visibility. Be unlocked. Select. Now, if it's unlocked, it's going to be hidden. So we should see 1, which we do. Great. So now we got to figure out how to get this to update when we grant the ability. All right. Well, let's see, because we grab our card, because it's in our card data, right? Where we call. So I think we should get the call back, right? On ability granted. If I grant this card, yes. Okay. So, am I doing myself a solid in passing along the CDO of this thing? So is it? I guess I could just put a breakpoint. Just look at the payload up, right? Payload. Am I passing in anything? So yeah, the optional object is the gameplay ability. So awesome. That's clutch. So I should be able to say which one it's being granted into, because by the time we get to this and we're granting it, we know it's all valid. At least in theory. Sorry, kitty break. Yeah, sometimes I can tell she's very annoyed with me. But, you know, it's the kitty tact. You know, you get pet every once in a while. So I'm hoping what we could do, optional object, cast for gameplay ability. I don't think I have a means, because I have to look back in the code base. I'm trying to remember what is it that I'm injecting in here. I think it's the source spec tags. Let's look. So it's going to be in the card data, if I'm not mistaken. So card there's a card data asset, and then the card ability set. So it's in the card ability set, I believe. So we're going to give to ability system. We have this. So get dynamic spec source tags. So this is doing dynamic ability tags. So I don't know. There is get dynamic text. So we could. But this would help us figure out which slot it's going into, right? So let's just print that. Should be, you know, the input 1, essentially. Input native action ability 1, right? So that's what we would expect. And there should only be this one dynamic tag, I would imagine. So essentially I could switch this is not the prettiest. One 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I could, theory, say get child at, and then, you know. Pass to ability slot primary. And then I would have to call like some sort of like update function that doesn't exist right now. Could, you know, have an index. So slot ID. Yeah, it's a lot of redundant sets here, so there's probably a better way to do it. But, you know, get it to work, make it pretty later. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we do that. Everybody connects emotionally. Good. This as well, granted. Ability, CDO. That. And then, you know, ideally, well, ideally there would be something that takes in an ability CDO. But I need to somehow pass along the card data. So how can I pass this along? Like, potentially it could be object 2, but I don't know where I'm doing this. Come on. Good. Let's find that bad boy. So on give ability. That makes sense, I suppose. But yeah, where am I going to? Maybe there can be maybe when we grant this thing, we can also pass along the data in some way. Just need to think out loud or silently, whichever. How would I get the information from the card to that? Like, I could maybe abstract like part of the card data asset, like an icon, and then like each gameplay ability has a icon parameter that gets written to, and then we can read it from the CDO. Maybe. So what are we looking at here? Because there's card data asset, which is what currently card data asset doesn't really have anything except the actual row information. And then we have this, which has the rest of this information, which also in turn doesn't really make sense. So I feel like DA cards, like, is this referenced anywhere? Oh yeah. So, but are these? Yeah, these aren't referenced anywhere. But I'm curious how this information is being passed to the card hand. So it gets the row this way. But like, card data is literally just this data asset. How are we lurking here? So we're getting deck manager, which is, I believe, in our player state. And it is just this row, right? And it is literally just these things. So maybe, yeah, so I feel like this is just redundant, where we can just have this card data asset have the information of this struct, which is card data, which I think it's not here. Where is card data? I don't think it's in Blueprint. The third table, card data. I really like the term card data, it seems. I guess it's F card data, no? The deck data. So yeah, here's this, right? So this seems willy-nilly fine. So I think card data asset needs to be not this, but essentially F. So I'm gonna have to break some shit. So let's just get it over with. So the F card data, Let's see, we'll include that. And then in the gas gameplay ability, right? Let's make a new parameter. Where'd you get these UI items? They look cool. There were some fat. I think either they were free or they were on Fab somewhere. Can't remember. So yeah, activate card. So all of that. Okay. It's this. So essentially, we don't need any of this. Should be able to say what? That essentially say this, right? Card data, F card data is the ability set. So card ability set. So it should be readable. See if that breaks anything. And then here, we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's try to compile that. Once I can open up tab again, we can look at the UI stuff. See where I got it from, because yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure this is not going to compile successfully though on the first try, because I did make some changes that might trickle down economics on the rest of the project here. So let's see. Compiled. Nice, nice, nice. But now there's going to be other things that are not going to compile. We're going to have to kind of go through it. But first, yeah, let's look at Fab. No Fab. Should be able to go to my library. So yeah, Classic Fantasy RPG UI Kit. That's where I'm pulling some stuff from. It also has like icons and stuff. So that's the main one. And yeah, this other one, this 4K full fantasy GUI stuff here. That's what I'm also using from other stuff. And then we have icons and stuff that we're gonna try to use temporarily, at least. Yeah, those are the assets we're pulling from for this first playable, as it were. So let's go to current hand. And I think we gotta go to template. So this shouldn't compile. Like we should have an error. Yep. So technically we don't need to do that anymore. Should just be able to get card data. Do that directly. So apply. Then we have to go to the card data assets. ET. What I named these things, so card data, right? Yeah, not DTA. So card data, yeah, now we got a bunch of stuff, right? So if we try to play, yeah, we got a bunch of empty cards, which is fine. But yeah. Sure, have this say is valid on this one. But yeah, we have to kind of go through all these. So let's see. I don't remember what any of these are supposed to be. Let's see. So DT underscore cards. So test activatability. Yeah. Well, let's do the ones we do know. So apply burn on crit, right? So card type. We'll put everything as an ability card for now. But as the things will be passives and stuff like that. So card name. Critical burn. Description. Critical hits. Applied burn. Here, so critical hits inflict burn. Probably have to add stuff to the card data for like the actual icon. So we'll do that next. Let's just sort of remember what the fuck we're doing. So evasive modifier, this is the fireball. This one we won't worry about right now. Speed modifier, yes. Increase movement speed by X%. Honestly, we're gonna have to figure out how to pull the data out from this, because I don't know if I can actually write something like this. Figure it out later, but we'll see. So it's this one. Swift step, we'll call it. Ability card for now. And ability set speed multiplier. That. What else do we have? So we have create a place burn, and then so test active ability anywhere. All these should be referenced, yeah. So this one will be the, what was it? The increase of critical hits. So we'll call it Crit Crazy. Card. And this is critical chance modifier. Increases critical chance by X%. This example one, which is the fireball. Well, this test card was supposed to be the fireball. I remember. Invalid title property. Don't know why it's saying that. Okay. Fireball. Turn into a fireball. What's wrong with our ability set? Why is it saying invalid title property? I just put gameplay ability and not get yelled at? I don't know. But now, in theory, we should see everything back to normal, right? Yeah, we do. Now see the writing. We'll have to figure out how to best kind of give this information, but everything is very way to imagine. So if I do that, I am a fireball still. So yay. So now we need to add an icon to the card data asset, or F card data more. So this needs to have what I would imagine to be soft reference. And I don't know if I need to have separate information here or if I can scale it, but we'll just say card icon. So yeah, in our base ability, the U texture 2D, so let's change that. Card description. Icon. Seems reasonable, but yeah, then when we give the ability, let's go to set. We give to ability system, right? Boom, 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 boom. I want to say also like ability CDO dot icon. What is ability CDO? That is UGAS course gameplay ability. So it could be icon protected. So we'll need to make a helper somewhere. I guess also this should be a soft class pointer, so soft object pointer, I should say. Hoping that's valid. Okay. Missing. Hopefully that's going to be valid enough. So yeah, we got maybe 10 minutes left, so let me see if I could potentially speed run this. So in theory, I should be able to say that ability icon. So ability to grant this. I would need to don't really have yet a way because it's happening. So maybe I have to move this logic because the ability set is what's granting everything, but I don't have a reference. The icon because it's all in the card data asset in the struct. So like potentially I don't know if I'm doing anything with activate card, honestly, but you do card data, activate card, and then activate card goes to get to ability system, right? And this is where the potential problem is. Like if I would be able to pass along maybe activate card could also take in card data. know if there's a circular dependency if I do something like that. Or if I just need to pass in texture. Should be able to say and give to ability system. Same thing. Which again may be redundant. So we do activate card and then there's just give to ability system. Would be factor opportunity, but let's just do it. I could say card data dot let's just see if that compiles. Yeah, I feel like I'm not doing this right. Yeah, we might have to revisit the design of the architecture just to make sure I'm not losing myself. Let's just make sure this compiles. It should do, yeah, circular dependency, and that's what I was afraid of. But it looks like we can't really, pass this in like that. So I'll think about this some more. Double check that. Oh yeah, I'll probably still have to see if it'll compile or not. Still a circular dependency. Let's try one more time. I had to remove that part from the header. Maybe the actual card gameplay ability set, like the card data asset, should probably handle giving to the ability system and stuff. It should just get the card ability set to load everything it needs. Oh. We got a cute kitty alert. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do next time. We'll kind of really think about this part, because knowing where the data is going to live is pretty important. How we kind of access that data will also be pretty important. So let me delete this and just add a new one. So GA evasive fireballs. If I add, yeah, why do I get that invalid property? Do they all give me that? No. It's only this this one, right? No, invalidity property. Curious why that would say that. find this online. It's gonna be in the our data asset, right? No, the ability set. Let's gather some evidence here. But in theory, we made some good progress tonight, I think, you know. Are things a little too big? I don't know yet. we might have to scale things down. I don't know, but we're making progress. That's all that really matters at the moment. I don't know how well this UI will scale. Anyway, do that. This is my full screen, and yeah, it seems like it's good. Might have to wrap things in size boxes and shit, but in theory, it's good. Let me just keep adding cards, yeah. This will never be that many cards, but still. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So, what does ChatGPT say? Yeah, so title property equals snippet must exactly match the property. Okay, so that's why. I gotta change it to gameplay ability. So let's recompile one last time, and then we'll call it a night. Then I'll also have to update JetBrains. JetBrains. And let's just see if making this change also kind of screwed us over for the data assets. Okay, so ability. Oh yeah, let's fix that. Okay, let's try. Final call. Let's just double check the data assets. Looks good. Fixed. Then let's just make sure. Boom, 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 boom. Turn into a fireball. Yes, we're turning into a fireball. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay. Cool. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's much appreciated. Make sure, if you aren't already following me here on Twitch, to follow, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Also, make sure to check out our Discord, join in, help make a fun game, show your work, learn more. We'll be back probably on Tuesday next week. I'll try to work on I'll try to work on some content this weekend, try to make a video, just talk about card data assets and everything that we're kind of working on, the philosophy I'm kind of going for. See if we get more eyes on the project, get more interest into the project. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you very soon.